Okay, I got to do my sharing on Facebook, on TikTok. So give me a second. Good morning. Good morning. Just sharing, because sharing is caring, right? So, and I always say it's important to lead by example. It's all about embodiment, right? Alrighty. Last ones. There. Done all the sharing. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Well, we're just going to give it a minute before we get started. We're on both YouTube and TikTok here. I'm so looking forward to this Saturday because I finally move into a little house, and which means I have a backyard, which means that next Sunday I am having tea on the deck in the morning, weather permitting, but I'm just going to be positive that the day is going to be beautiful next Sunday, or I mean this Sunday coming up. I decided to hop on early. I used to start around 10:30, but I've kind of pushed it back to starting at 11. It's the bonus of being in your own company and owning your own company, as you can set the times in which you start. And being that I'm here on Facebook doing this for free, I mean, it's what it seems to be anyway. I'm Canadian, so we don't have the creator fund unless we get, hi Lulu, we don't have the creator fund unless we get over 50,000 followers. So it's a little bit different in Canada. So it's not really available to us, but yeah, so I kind of start. Good morning. So yeah, I'm on TikTok and YouTube, so streaming to both channels. So you'll see me looking up there and engaging with the top. And you guys will see me looking down here and me engaging with the bottom with TikTok. Playing good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing today? Hi, Bri Guy. How are you doing today? I'm trying not to be the first person to put likes on my live because I feel like, I don't know if that gets penalized in some way. I don't know if TikTok does something when you tap on your own screen. So we're just waiting for a few minutes because I did start a little bit before 11 and just waiting for a few minutes to see who shows up. And then we're gonna have a good session. We're gonna learn some stuff. We're gonna do some stuff, do some practical stuff. For those of you that are here right now, I do have an event that I'm putting on on the 6th, which is actually this Friday. So on the 6th of June, I'm putting on a free sacred union. So it's going to be talking about the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and sacred union. And it's a preview of all of the material that I'm going to cover in a 3-day event. You get a journal and a sacred scroll that goes along with it, a sacred union reflection scroll that goes along with it. And it has journal prompts and stuff like that. Oh, nice. It's all you can do, right? Everything that we do to reduce the things that are in opposition to us or anti us, right? Like when you think about it, you truly are a Christic being. And that's not religious. It has nothing to do with religion. When I talk about Christic, I don't mean Christian. I mean Christic. I mean, like beyond that. So being that you are that, the more that you are out of alignment, the more weighted and dense that you become. So that's how you stay in a lower dimension, is actually by ingesting all the toxins, not handling, like not managing or working through your trauma, all the other things that we do that keep us out of alignment with who and what we truly are. That's what we're here to work through. And the more that we work through that, the higher that we rise our frequency and we raise ourselves through dimensions. But we are multidimensional every single day anyway, because sometimes there's parts of us cellularly that are in lower dimensions, whereas, our higher self is always in a higher dimension. It's not in the third dimension or in the fifth dimension. Even your higher self is probably 9D or above. So you're connected to that at all times, which means that you are, by that mere fact alone, multidimensional. Good morning. Good morning. So we're going to have a good session today. We're going to talk about Eden. But more specifically, the Eden within. And this is not, like I said, this is not a religious conversation that we're going to have. When I talk, I'm talking spiritually. And when I'm talking Christic, I'm talking in alignment with Prime Source and in alignment with, how I believe that we are meant to live, right? My knowing. It either aligns or it doesn't. And that's the thing. I absolutely love that everybody around me keeps their own discernment and they sit with it, and you determine what I say, if it actually aligns with you. And if it doesn't, that's absolutely fine. I don't think you're crazy. Oh, it won't let me filter it yet. How? Oh, there we go. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Right. I think that there's a lot of distortion around mental illness and around things like that, like craziness, right? There's a lot of misconceptions about that. So what do you mean by that? You did something bad to take you out. Take accountability is the big thing. Take accountability and then go on from there. Okay. Okay. So we're going to talk today about the echoes of Eden, the sacred origin within. So this is about the, when we look at when Jesus was, hi, Metal Queen. How are you? Hi, Amanda. How are you, Metal Queen? Grand Rising. How are you? Hi, O'Neill. How are you, love? We were just looking at, or I was just saying, the episode that we're going to be doing today is Echoes of Eden, the sacred origin within. I'm okay. Still working towards moving in on the 7th, which is Saturday. I did put together a free Sacred Union course that I'm putting on, and it will be this Friday from 7 until 8:30 p.m. So it's a 90-minute webinar, and I'm putting on a full 3-day course, but that one will be paid. So if you can't do the paid course, at least do the free course, because you get the PDF guide that has journal prompts and everything with it as well. So you might as well, take whatever, take that for that. So on the 6th, that is the free one. And then from the 9th to 11th is the paid course. Hi, Olive Tree. So doing all, working towards that. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, and I really need to talk to people that are content creators. And I really appreciate whoever gave me the 35 likes. I really, really appreciate that, because, I've been on for about 15 minutes, and I don't know what TikTok's probably like, who's this lame person? They've been on for 15 minutes and only 35 likes. It's not me. I could care less, but it's the way that the algorithm works. So unfortunately, the algorithm, right? But that was just funny. It's like the one day I had this flash goal. I did this flash goal, and the flash goal was literally, it was getting 3 1-penny gifts in 15 minutes, and I couldn't complete it. I was like, what the actual? So it was this exact one. It's 3 penny gifts. And I couldn't do it in 15 minutes. And I was like, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. And I'm like, I know the value that I bring, and I know what I do for people, and I know the education alone that I give. I'm just like, whatever, your algorithm is silly, or the way this whole thing is just, it's silly. So anyway, we're going to talk about Eden, the echoes of Eden, the sacred origin within. And I was saying how when I talk about Christic stuff, I'm not talking about Christian. I'm not talking about any of that. I actually spend time studying the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, like all of them, because each one of them as a sacred text have truths, but they are not the whole truth. They're missing parts. Some of them we know they've been taken out on purpose, right? Like the Apocalypse of John, or the Apocrypha. I just butchered saying it because my mind substituted another word, so I made a word mash. Like the Book of the Enoch as another one, right? So there's all these sacred texts that have been removed so they're not complete, and they're not the whole truth. And there's also that they're open for interpretation, and some, while they were being transcribed or channeled, they came through in distortion as well, right? They're, like when we think of, I could get into a whole thing about that, but that's probably something to do in a private space. I probably get censored here quite quick if I talked about some of the things that I've discovered in my study of the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, and stuff like that. So anyway, we're not going to get into that depth here. But when I'm talking about Christic, I'm not talking about any religion. I'm talking about the divine way that we're meant to embody life and move through life, and the divine beings that we truly are. And these are concepts that are found in all of the religious texts, although maybe not in this depth, because they don't want us to find our salvation within. They want us to be seeking our salvation outside of us, because that's how they keep us controlled. That's how they keep in their positions of power, because we're looking to them to save us in some capacity, or we're looking for someone to come along and rescue us. And they even twisted the words in those sacred texts so that you inherently are looking for that within, right? You're looking for the second coming of Christ, or you're looking for, and it's Christ, actually, it's not Christ, but it's Christ, but the second coming of Christ. And that's us seeking again, waiting for a savior. And this is seated in everything, right? It's seated in everything, the way that they have us programmed to believe someone's going to save us, right? Even the movies where they have like the government opposing the people, superheroes come in, or aliens come in, or, like there's some outside force that saves you, right? They don't teach you to save yourself. And that's what the Christic way is about you being the savior. That, and it's interesting because today I did a person had posted a thing about kind of some truths or distortions that someone else had posted around the concept of Yeshua and the Bible, and, some of the topics in the Bible, like demons as well. Are demons real? Yes, they are. But like your sovereignty is what protects you from that. And some of them are not in the way that we think that they are, right? They've been distorted and twisted, right? Same thing with a lot of the deities and goddesses that we honor. They, in their pure form, are worthy of all of that, they are worthy of devotion, although, to what degree, because we are meant to be sovereign and looking within. But because they've been distorted, hi, Swan's Arms. You like that, hey? This is actually the pseudonym that I publish under my religious, some of my, not religious, they're not religious because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but my spiritual tech books that I've written, and a lot of the stuff that I do on my website, I do, underneath Sharia and Lorian, because that's my soul name. Like it's my soul name. In this incarnation, I chose Tanya, and so I do write books under that name as well, and do stuff under that name. But Sharia and Lorian is a pen name, or is my true soul name. But so my spiritual books that I write and scrolls and classes and stuff like that, I use my spiritual name. It's like having a spiritual name. Yeah, it's my spiritual name. I love it too. So just in case, because I was talking about some pretty deep stuff, but I also mentioned earlier, I have a free class that I'm running this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's on Zoom. You just have to register on my website. It's completely free, and it's called Sacred Union. I can help you with that. I can help you with that. I think there's actually one of my lives that has a thing on it about doing that. And I'm actually going to put a meditation up on my Temple of Light free group on the webpage. And you can go on that free webpage group. You can go on the free group on my website, and you can get companion journals for all the lives that I do. There's tons of stuff that I drop in that group for free that are really, really powerful. So you can check that out. And like I said, I'm going to put in a bigger meditation that is to help with that, but I can also help with that as well. One of the things that I offer right now, it's called a soul letter. And this soul letter, I channel your higher self and your guides, and I write a letter from them to you. And then I also do what's called a voice note oracle. So it's just a bigger, more expansive thing. And it's a voice note. So it's anywhere from around 7 minutes in length, right? It's a decent length note. And I will channel even more information and answer some questions that you have through your guides. And one of those things could be, what level of soul name are you ready to receive? Like, what's the soul name that you're ready to receive at this time? Because it's all about frequency and levels. And the truth changes, and the knowledge that opens up as you ascend, it gets greater, right? It grows, it expands, right? And that's the way that information is kept safe, is through frequency. I talked about this because Blue Bodhi had put out a thing about the CIA and the military trying to hack the Akashic records and put prisons in, or apparently they were doing that. They were hacking and they can't do that. And people are like, well, what do you mean? How can they not do that? Because you can't. The true Akashic records is frequency based. If I have anywhere within me, the concept of hacking it in order to manipulate it, in order to imprison people and take away their sovereignty or hijack their, right? Like I'm not at the level. I'm not at the level to get admission. So I can't hijack anything. All I can do is distort nodes that some individuals use to access the Akashic records, because they use intermediaries as opposed to going through their higher self and through prime source to access the Akashic records. But when you go in that way, you're passing by any of the meat of the. I saw it when I was in the middle of speaking. So I'm like, no, keep going, squirrels. I saw it, but I couldn't say it. It would have thrown me right off track. But yeah, so, the other thing, so this free class is on Friday from 7 till 8:30 p.m. It is the Sacred Union class. So we're looking at divine feminine, divine masculine, and sacred union. It is only an hour and a half long, but it is packed with stuff. You know me. Look how fast I talk, guys. Like, imagine the information I can get. And luckily enough, you always get books with it, or you get guides with it. Like, you get something to go along with it. So there is a free PDF. It's called the Sacred Union Reflection Scroll. I already have it created. It's beautiful. And then the 3-day course starts on the 9th and it goes until the 11th. So each night from 7 until 8:30 for 3 nights in a row, you just hang out with me. The recordings will be available For the free class for 48 hours, for the paid class for 90 days. So for 90 days, you'll have access to the recordings from those sessions. So even if you can't attend all 3 live, you still have access to the sessions to watch the recordings. And so all of that's available on the website, because last week I was talking about doing a session on sacred union and on the divine feminine, divine masculine, and all these concepts, soulmates and twin flames, and other stuff like that. And so then I went and I looked at the dates, and I was like, actually, because of the alignments with the sun and Venus, and I'm gonna pick today, and I'm going to pick these days because they also work as well. So that's why it's the time that I chose it is when I chose it. Now, that doesn't mean this will be the only time I run it live. I might do another live class at another time, but it will be maybe for the next 3 months. You never know. So it's definitely worthwhile to check it out. Check out any of the offerings. Check out the website. It's brand new, and all the stuff on there is brand new. So if you have previously subscribed to my website, you'd have to subscribe again. The old website address works, but only until July, I think, June or July. Well, it's probably at the end of this month, I think. And then it'll be just Anshara'El. It will no longer forward anyone to Anshara'El from Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. Mind, Body, Spirit, yeah. Like, was that the name? Was that the web address? Of how quickly we forget, right? Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. I think I had to use Healthy Self because Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy wasn't available. So I had to add the extra. Alrighty. So you guys want to learn some stuff? You want to learn about this whole Echoes of Eden, the garden within? And did you want to do some practical stuff? Have you seen where the picture that the meal? I don't know what that means, Tammy. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. You'll have to clarify that. But yes, squirrels. So many squirrels. I feel like my brain's like a super highway. Like it's very active. So, it's nothing for one of those freeways that's running through my brain to just take off. It's just away we go. But you know what? It would have been hard to get something past me back in the day. I would have been scouring everything all the time. It would have been perfect. Okay, so let's do some teaching on this topic, and we'll do some practical stuff. So this is the garden. The garden is not lost. The garden is not lost, right? This Garden of Eden. So there's a place within you that's never forgotten. A place that remembers the soft soil beneath bare feet, the warmth of creation moving through the breath, the sound of divine love speaking through leaves, wind, and stars. You remember in your body. And I tell people that all the time. Like, if you start to pay attention to your body, you really start to get in alignment with the truth, right? Like, what is the truth? And your body knows that. Your body can discern that, and it feels differently in your body when you sit with it. And the easier that, or the more that we work through shadow aspects, and we stop ingesting all the toxins, right? Toxins through what we're watching on TV, what we're watching on our social media, what we're eating through our food, what we're wearing with like all of the stuff that we're putting on our skin, the frequencies that are around us, the water that we drink, the food that we eat. I don't know if I covered that, right? But we need to look at all of those things. And we have to really, really be aware that the more that we can cleanse those things from us, the higher that we will resonate, the higher our frequency will become. And in becoming less dense because of all of those things, with shedding those layers, the truth becomes gets revealed to us. And that's one of the ways that we allow ourselves to remember, is through shedding the layers. And hi, Nona. This transmission opens the field gently, grounding us in the truth that Eden is not a myth. It's definitely not a myth. Hello. Or a place of the past. It's not a place of the path. See, I still want to do that. Place of the past. There we go. I can say Maybe I can't. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. I'm glad it's on recording. I'm glad. Place of the past. It's a living frequency woven in your cells that's ready to be reawakened. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you to remember, right? So the Edenic body is not fantasy or abstract spiritual idea. It is deeply embodied memory of wholeness. It is natural living state that has existed before systems, before shame taught us to see ourselves as separate or unworthy or broken. This body, the Edenic template, remembers how to trust and how to move with innocence and to be without fear. Can you imagine loving without fear and living freely and sitting within that innocence and vulnerability and feeling completely safe? Like, that's how we're meant to be. We're meant to live and experience life in that way. But because of all the distortions in this world, that's why we're living the way that we are. Right? We've been so disconnected from our truth and fed so many beliefs and lies and misconceptions and distortions and things that keep us looped and trapped and stuck in this space. And as we start to awaken, it's us peeling back the layers of truth, right? Like getting rid of those layers of deception and manipulation and lies that have been given to us. And as we get closer and closer to the truth, we wake more and more and more. And it's just an act of remembering. That's all we're doing, is just remembering, right? The Last Supper. Yeah, I've seen the picture of the Last Supper. I'm not sure what that. And sometimes if I don't respond to a message that you put up right away, just know I have to pick and choose when I'm going to interrupt my thought patterns because you never know what it's going to take to get me back on path on track after that. Apparently I want to say path, and maybe, I don't know, the word's in my mind for some reason. It's funny. But could you imagine that? Could you really imagine just like loving without fear and living in, in innocence and, not having any shame, any guilt, they are. Squirrels are far too friendly is what the comment said. They are. I talk to them too when I'm out walking. That's okay. I made a comment on someone's social media, and I shouldn't do that, but I mean, you want to put the truth out there, and you put the truth out there, and then you get the insults and stuff back. And someone told me to keep snorting crystals, and and I was like, that's not what we do with them, guys. Like, you're so misinformed if you think we're snorting them. And then I just laugh and I leave the conversation. We don't have to resort to insulting each other. And we can state our difference in opinions and just be okay with that, right? Like, but apparently that's changing, right? It's changing what we're allowed to say and get away with, and how it's accepted in society anymore. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how the body has been used as a site of distortion through religious dogma, physical form, and especially those that frame the body as sinful, as dirty, or as dangerous. Think how many bad things you were taught about your body, how many ways you were taught to be ashamed of your body, right? And this isn't about overexposure. This isn't about because we've done that, where we've done this whole empowerment for women, so much so that now that we are saying that women are like, yay, such wonderful business women, and you're doing such an awesome job being an OnlyFans, right? Like we're so caught on this whole empowerment trip that we sit there and go, like, she can wear whatever she wants while women parade around in essentially nothing. And so the sacredness towards the body is gone, and that's not what this is about. When we removing shame, so that we can embody ourselves in that truthful and honest way, that has nothing to do with overexposure, right? When you hold yourself as sacred, you're not out there showing everything off to everybody, right? You hold yourself in a different light, and that's what it's about. It's about removing the shame and all of these things that are tied up around which are put there on purpose. It's a money-making machine, right? Think about how much your insecurities has paid the machine for the solutions to those insecurities, right? Every single self-help book, every single diet, every single, workout, every single gym plan, all of it, plastic surgery, makeup, clothing, right? The next fad, this fad, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. What we've done in the name of insecurity. And a lot of that has to be shamed. There is an extra person in the Last Supper. What do you mean? Is there a new picture? Is there a Mandela effect over on the Last Supper picture? Do I need to look at a new picture of it and see if there's a difference in it? But yeah, if there's a change in the picture, I'll have to check that out. Dizziness and migraines. There's a lot of pressure systems. I had a migraine on the weekend as well. Let me know if that's really loud, because if it is, I'll shut my windows temporarily. I didn't realize they were going to be cutting the grass today, but that's okay. If it's too loud, like I said, I will close the windows. That's what you're experiencing. Because I definitely, like this weekend, I had a migraine as well, and it was pretty pervasive. So those can be ascension symptoms, getting downloads. It can be getting upgrades, as people will say it, or whether you call them downloads or upgrades. It's kind of the same stream of information that you're opening up your capacity to hold more. So, just being gentle with yourself. There's some things that you can do to kind of help with that, breath work, like having a focal point, which is something I can talk about at another point. But yeah, there's some things that you can do for that, but just be gentle with yourself as you're experiencing it. Rest your eyes, right? All these screens are going to be causing problems for you. And I think, well, I'm not seeing you on there, so it's weird. Because I saw your comment, but I'm not seeing you on there, so I'm not sure who I'm. That was weird. It was only showing me 2 people, so I was answering a question for someone that left. That's okay. Alrighty. So the garden was never lost. The garden's been internalized. It's hidden behind this veil of shame. And now we're going to lift that veil. We're going to talk about the Edenic body, and it's not about returning to childhood. It's about a wise innocence, a conscious purity that rises through healing, not denial, right? So it's just reclaiming the truth. And we begin to walk that path of reverent embodiment, where every step becomes a return to love. So it's all about like embodying and having sacred reverence for yourself. Like if you really truly love yourself and you see yourself as sacred, what are you doing differently in your life? Right? Like I'm probably, and this is coming from somebody, like, trust me, back when I was a kid, like I've been to some silly parties and I've done some crazy things and I've ingested things. Like I'm a Generation X, right? So, like I've done and experienced and, those things as well. I mean, I wasn't like insanely wild. Like I wasn't doing like off the wall stuff, but I was doing stuff that, us in the 70s that were born in the 70s and raised in the 80s and 90s were up to, when there were no cell phones and, stuff like that, back when we were pretty much taking care of ourselves anyway. We were pretty feral. So, that being said, though, moving from beyond that space, right, learning to heal those things and, step forward beyond those. I kind of lost my track of thought. That lawnmower is really loud for me. And so when it goes by, I'm like, Is it really loud for you guys? Because if it is, I feel like I need to shut the window. So the last time it went by, it rattled my thought process. Thanks, Tammy. I appreciate that. You'll send it to me. Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. So let's try to see if I can't ravel my mind back into where we were with that. Okay, so before distortion, your Edenic body is your original template, and that's before distortion, it's before trauma, it's before shame, it's before forgetting, it's before all of this, right? And these false things that we've incorporated into our lives, false belief systems, the traumas that we've experienced, false religion, and exile consciousness has severed our connection to the sacred earth and to our own goodness. When we return to knowing that your body has not fallen, it is the garden, right? When we remember this, the reverence returns. So we'll discuss how to rebuild trust in your body's signals today, and to release subconscious shame, and to allow innocence to be restored as a foundation of your embodiment. Right. So how nice is that? And I know what I was talking about now. It's about that sacredness, right? When you're very sacred with yourself and you hold yourself with reverence, you don't do those things, right? And like I said, I did a lot of crazy things when I was a teenager, and like I moved out on my own when I was 16. I had 2 kids by the time I was 20, and that's probably what I literally probably could say they saved me from being even any more wild. Although I don't know, I was always seeking betterment. I was just not that person, I guess. But but I did stupid things. I drank, I did body shots. I did all kinds of silly things in my early years. And I don't hold shame on those things, but I do think about the difference in how I thought about myself back then, and that I did not see myself as reverent or sacred or any of that, that I really didn't fully love myself. I didn't fully accept myself. I had all of the traumas that kept me blocked from knowing myself, plus the stuff that's in society that has you hating on yourself all the time anyway, right? Right now, we're going to make this popular, and we're going to make everybody want to be like this for now. And if you can't fit that mold, then too bad for you. You're just over there with the outcasts, right? So, if uber thin was in and you weren't uber thin, then you were on the outside. If curly hair was really popular, or big hair was really popular, and you had tiny wispy hair, you were on the outside of it. If, and it's just the way that they did that. They continued to do these things in such a way as to always have us seeking something more, seeking outside of ourselves, thinking there's something wrong with us, and having polarity and division between everybody. The more things they interject into our lives that creates division, the more stuff that they put in there that polarizes us and makes us, so the more labels that we have, the more divisive we become, because a label creates a cage around you, right? When you become and identify as neurodivergent, then you're not neurotypical. You're opposed to neurotypical. And then we get into that, well, neurotypical are blah, 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 blah. And neurotypical are over there, yeah, neurodivergent or no, right? So we just get back and forth with everything. Same thing in every layer that we can, right? Whether we're looking at gender, and that's why it makes sense to keep creating more and more and more of it, because then the public is more and more confused. The public is identifying more and more and more, which means that they are also divided more and more and more. And they start to look at people as opposite to or different than, and different than is always being pushed as being terrifying. It's so scary. And while there is lots of things out there that are scary, that have, that are dangerous or are scary, for the most, the fears they're being driven and being propagated in order to scare us and make us stay small and all the rest of that. So the Edenic body is your original template before distortion, before shame, before forgetting. It is and in this teaching, we are going to explore how trauma, false religion, and exile consciousness has severed our connection to the sacred and to our own goodness. So we're going to return to the knowing of our body, that it is a garden. It is the Garden of Eden. And when you remember this, that reverence can return. So we're going to do that now. We're going to do this activation. Okay. We're going to do an activation. Ready, Freddies? Let's do an activation. All right. So we're going to do this activation. And what I want you to do is to close your eyes. I have to I'm going to have some tea first. I'm going to have some tea first. You have a second to get ready. Okay. Hi, Big Show. And Moonchild, Wild Moonchild, Amber. How are you? Hi, Jen. Oh, stretching out the legs. My leg fell asleep. It was more my foot, but if oh, there we go. There we go. It's waking up. Okay. You ready to do this? This is going to help you to remember the sacred garden. This is a really powerful activation. So what we're going to do first is we're going to close our eyes. Okay. And you're just going to start to focus on your breath. And what we want to do is just let the breath soften. Okay. So just a nice, slow, deep breath. We're bringing that breath deep into the tummy. Right. And with each inhale, we're going to feel the subtle presence of life returning to your body. And with each exhale, we're going to do that nice and slow through pursed lips. We're going to release any tension that is keeping you from feeling safe in this moment. So inhale that beautiful presence of life within you and exhale tension. Just nice and slow in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with your eyes closed, you're going to visualize in this moment for me. I want you to visualize this path before you. It winds between trees and through a field. The earth is soft and mossy, kissed by the morning light. You are walking gently into this lush inner garden. The air is warm and fragrant. The trees hum with memory. The flowers whisper your name in a language louder than sound. You reach a clearing, and in the center stands a tree. This is the living tree of memory, or the tree of living memory if you prefer. Its roots are woven deep into the heart of Mother Earth, and its branches reach high into the sky, connecting with your Oversoul. You're going to rest here beneath the tree. As you rest here under the canopy of the tree of living memory in this beautiful Garden of Eden, a guide appears, an elemental being from your original memory field. You do not need to know their name. Just feel their presence. Allow them to offer you a seed. It's glowing, golden, humming with codes. This is a seed of remembrance, a key to your Edenic frequency. Take it in your hands. Hold it to your heart. And say inwardly or out loud, I plant the seed within the temple of my body. I allow it to grow through breath, through presence, through devotion. Breathe. Let the seed integrate. Let the garden anchor. And know that you can return to this place at any time. This is not a vision. It is a living frequency encoded within you. And as you open your eyes, know that you carry the Garden of Eden in your cells. And the path of sacred embodiment begins here. Again. Now. The seed will continue to grow through the week. Each breath will make it grow. Each step and each choice that's aligned with reverence will continue to foster the growth of the seed. How nice is that? Divine Rising, and good morning, Doris. I was trying to make it through before saying hi too much. I was like, those jets flying overhead, as distracting as they were, I believe they were confirmation about what we were talking about. Like sealing the fact that you planted the seed in the garden. It was beautiful. How'd you like that, Tammy? Oh, she might have left. She might have left in the middle of it. That's okay. That's the hardest part that we have, right? We're taught so much to be logical individuals, and we're really great with ingesting information, right? And we've been taught, look for the quick fix, get it immediately, get it. There's got to be a quick fix. There's got to be a faster way around this. And many times we'll learn the information or we'll be aware of knowledge, but we won't implement it. Right. And that's where many people fail, because they don't do the breath work. They don't do the meditation. They don't actually physically change their diet. They change it for a little bit because they consider it a diet, as opposed to, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm just going to eat healthy. I'm just going to eat in the way that I'm supposed to eat. Or I'm just going to move my body every day because I should be moving my body every day, right? We look at it as an activity that you take on for a certain amount of time. And then you get some that become, that becomes a part of their lifestyle. Absolutely. And those are the ones that have the healthy lifestyle, is the ones that incorporate it as a part of their day. So if you want to work through your traumas, or you want to work through they are in full force today. I cannot get over how many have flown over in the time of us. Like, I have no idea how many that is right now. Like, how many, right? But it's about embodiment. It is truly and completely about embodiment. And you have to do the actual practical. You have to do the physical part of it. So if you're not sitting and bringing the stuff to light, and it's really just about revealing it, bringing it to the light, and cleansing it, clearing it through whether transformation with fire. If you're looking for support in that, I do have the Bridge to Light program, which is a self-paced study. You get me once a month for a live session to sit and talk with me, but you have the full library of 12 video sessions, plus all the supportive documents and books and guides and meditations and so on and so forth. There's even, like a guide in there to test what your fight, flight, freeze, disassociate, which is the one that your trauma response, what is your most common trauma responses. It goes through, different healthier ways in which to manage those responses. There's a ton of valuable information in that. But anyway, that's available on my website as well. So I just wanted to make a point of that. If you dump out in the middle of the meditation, like, that's the practical part. That's the part we want to be doing. That's the part that's good for us, right? So I'm going to talk about some of the questions that we have around healing the shame wound and exile myth, right? So I often don't feel like I belong anywhere. Is that connected to the exile wound? And yes, deeply. The exile myth isn't just a biblical story. It's a collective trauma encoded in the psyche. Dude. Thank you. 10 out of 10 for alarm system. Well done. Look, just in time for another jet. It's really busy here. Like, just wow. There's been so many this morning. But you know what? I'm moving. So this is the second last live that we'll have jets flying overhead. The next we'll just have to worry about whatever traffic's going by on the road. It's been busy. There's probably been about 6 or 7 since I started, like since this morning in total. Like that's a lot of jets taking off, right? But you better make sure you're using a paper straw. Stop it. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go and check and see if there's something at the door that he really has cause to be barking at. I don't know what he's hearing, but his hearing's definitely better than mine. So he might be just hearing somebody in the hallway. Give me 1 second. Nobody's there. I even opened the door and peeked out. Nobody's there. Nobody's there. I don't know what you're hearing, friend. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. Okay. Many of us carry subconscious beliefs that we've been banished, punished, or made to feel unsafe in our humanness. And this creates a chronic state of a chronic sense of not belonging. And think how many times you get pushed out from your peers because of your likes or your interests, right? How many of us now are considered to be somewhat outliers of society? I know I am. I mean, heck, some of the things that I talk about and stuff, people really, start attacking you quite a bit. And, they'll look at your profile and the one lady's like, go sniff some more crystals, nut job. And I was just like, it makes me laugh. Like, it just makes me laugh. I don't believe and feel that way in any way, shape, or form. So it just makes me laugh. And that's fine. But I can understand how back when I was unhealed, I would have felt very segregated, or I would have felt very pushed away or exiled from society. And they do that on purpose, right? We see that in society now, where they're pushing more and more and more and more and more with you can have even just the wrong thoughts. Like if you don't. I'm just gonna fly around. All right. Another one. It's just a busy day out there in the skies, I suppose. Like, super busy. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. Alrighty. So as we begin to remember that we were never truly exiled, right? Like the only one that can exile you is you, right? You're the one that determines that you're not fitting in. You're the one that that it's about seeing through the illusion, right? It's about really recognizing beyond the illusion and then reclaiming our place as the inhabitants of Earth. So I feel ashamed of my body and the way that I've treated it. How do I start honoring it again? And I know I was one of those. I was horrible. And still sometimes I can say that I'm not as loving to myself, or I don't necessarily treat myself with as much reverence as I should, right? And the reason why I say that is because I am aware that certain things that I eat are not good for me. And I'm aware how unhealthy they truly are. So when I willingly ingest something that I know that's me making a conscious decision to put something that's bad for me in my system. So that's me being hard or bad to my body, right? Like not honoring my body the way that it should be, right? So it's a matter of being aware of those things those choices that you're making and working on moving beyond that. But there's also more, because we're looking at shame, right? For those of us that had shame, and I did as well. So we would just want to begin with being just compassionate, right? Just being really compassionate with your, and if you can think of yourself external to you, but also internal. When we think about how we would be towards our friend, if our friend came and told us our story, right, what would you do for your very bestest, dearest friend if they came to you and they told you all the things that happened to you happened to them? How would you treat them, right? Or, if your friend came to you and was like, I look like blah, blah, blah. And, like, I'm so ugly. I'm just hideous. I'm like, you would not let your friend just keep saying that, right? You would intervene and you would tell her the truth and how you see her, and you would help her through that. So you have to think about being like that very bestest friend. And I love the concept of looking at it. I'm not doing cards right now, Priya. Went boop. I forgot what I was saying. Nope, it's not coming back yet. Yeah. So anyway, we know when we're willingly doing the things that we know are not healthy for us, like we're not looking at a friend something. Oh yeah, when we're doing our healing journey, if we can look at ourselves either like our very bestest friend, because we would never say terrible things to our friends, we'd be kind and compassionate to them. The same thing if you think about your daughter coming to you and saying the things that that you experienced, and your daughter saying she's experienced those same things, or she thinks terribly about her body. I would hope that you would be the parent or the mother that would not would not say something like, you look hideous, or like would body, like would be terrible to her. Many of us, if we wrap our minds around that concept and talk to ourselves like we are a precious child of ours, we wouldn't say the things that we would say to you. So I give the friend concept and the child concept, because for some of us who don't have that parenting instinct or want to be a parent, that may not resonate with us, but whereas the friendship one may. And I hope that you're in whichever category you chose, you still wouldn't be somebody that would go and say terrible things to either one. So you're going to start with compassion, right? And then you're going to start to touch it, right? So it's not about like this being sexual. That's not about it at all, right? I've known in my time of working with people with trauma, several people who couldn't put their hands like on their heart space, or they couldn't give themselves a hug like this, right? Some who I've worked with who couldn't look in a mirror and say, I love you. Right. So depending on the stage and healing that you're in, you're going to start with being compassionate with yourself, and then going through with a tenderness approach. Right. So you're really looking at putting your hand on your body, right, inviting that physical touch, and putting your hands on your heart. And this can be a bit of a practice for some people to be able to allow themselves to do this, or allowing themselves to go into that hug, right, and providing that soothing or that comfort, right, and touching your body in that physical space. So as you start to allow yourself to, one, step into compassion and then into tenderness, then you get to move into the next space, which is reverence. Right. And start to listen to your body and start to invite your body into the partnership of life. Your soul is the spiritual component of you, and your body is the physical temple. And when you marry your body and your soul together, you bring heaven to earth. You create that Edenic space but in yourself. Right. So this is what we're aiming for. The Edenic body, it responds to presence, not perfection. So it's just a matter of being present with yourself. Can you speak and live your truth? Can you talk to your body in a beautiful way? So every day, you can start with just the affirmation of putting your hands on your chest and just saying that, I'm learning to trust you again. Right. It's not, I do trust you or anything like that. You're just starting with, I'm learning to trust you again. Right. And learn to trust your body. I know from, and I could talk about some really, really profound traumas that I've experienced. But, I know that when we're talking about SA traumas, that your body betrays you because your body isn't there's not the mental connection to it. Your body's just going through physical motions, and sometimes it feels like that body betrayed you in those moments. And that can be something that can be really hard for women or anyone that has had SA trauma, to move past, because it feels like I said, like they were betrayed by their very own bodies. So it's just starting with that tenderness and compassion and just touching slowly. If you can't put your hands on your heart, start wherever you can. Maybe start with putting them on your legs. See if you can put it on one shoulder, and maybe even try to get to the point where you can hug, and then work towards putting your hands on your heart, or whichever one is more challenging for you, because it could be the hug being more challenging than putting your hands on your heart. So how can I distinguish between spiritual humility and spiritual hiding? Which is a beautiful question. So humility is the radiance of knowing your place within the whole, right? So it's not, I'm never separate, but always individual, right? Like it's the paradox, right? You are a part of the whole, but always connected to the whole. And that doesn't dim your light. It doesn't make you less. It refines it, in fact. Hiding, however, comes from shame or fear. So if you're shrinking from expressing your truth because you fear judgment, or then you're in hiding, right? That's you hiding your spiritual self. That's you out of alignment in a lot of ways, right? Because whatever you're hiding, that is somewhere within you that is not accepting of it within society, or not accepting of it within the greater picture. So you're trading your authenticity for connection or for acceptance by the masses, or, by groups of people. So we, just going to dismiss that pop up there. Popping up telling me I have class, which I don't. I just forgot to take my messages off. I forgot to take my reminders off that I have class at this time. So hiding, if you speak or live your truth, right, with reverence, love, and alignment, even quietly, that's humility. You don't have to be shouting it from the rooftops. You don't, but you just live your truth and honor it. So ask yourself, is this spiritual protection, or is it devotional? So are you hiding because you're shamed, or are you just just embodying it within your own space, not afraid to speak on the truth of it or to speak your truth? You're just not maybe broadcasting it out there. Like, not everybody has to be me on a stage talking about things like this, right? It's about your personal embodiment, and it's my embodiment too. It's just that my embodiment of it happens to encompass me wanting to do this as well. So that's it. So what if I don't feel any connection to the sacred garden within? Well, that's okay, because remember, we've been pushed through society at this point, and through our traumas and stuff, that we've been encouraged to really disconnect, right? We are taught to so much to shame and, to want to alter ourselves and not, look at ourselves as sacred in so many different ways with the stuff that's out in society, with what we're being taught, right? So this isn't about forcing anything. It's just about softening into the remembrance of who you truly are. And sometimes trauma and busyness create static that really blocks that inner signal. So it just keeps you from being able to feel, because you have all of those disruptions within your energetic bodies that are changing the signal that you're receiving, or that your body is giving out. You're in a different resonance than what you should be, because of those disruptions in your energetic field. So simply holding the intention that I am open to remembering, and then just let it come through and feel it. Sometimes it'll come through in a dream. It could come through in a moment where you start to feel it or start to remember it. The garden isn't a fantasy. Okay, it's a living code, and it awakens when you give it space. It's not about forcing it, the remembrance of, the sacredness of your body. So why is embodiment emphasized so much in this teaching? Isn't spirituality about transcending the body? Well, that's a distortion. That's a distortion we're here to clear. Embodiment is the sacred expression of your light, right? I talked about that before, about the spirit in the temple of the body is bringing heaven to earth, right? So this is the sacred expression of your light, your divine essence made tangible, right? Transcendence without embodiment is Sacred transcendence without embodiment leaves the earth and body behind. And that's not what we're meant to do. Your body is not an obstacle, it is the altar, right? In full embodiment of your soul's light, you become the bridge that brings heaven back to earth. That's why I've been saying it all along, all along, all along. Anybody have any questions that I didn't answer? Because we can do the invocation, and then I'll talk about the journal prompts, and then that's it for the stuff that I had planned to talk about for this session. And maybe we'll see what else comes up for conversation, and we'll just talk, right? We'll just talk. No questions, no comments, no nothing. Nope, you're quiet today. Quiet crew. All right. Oh, we're getting low power mode on everything. I don't have a lot of time left anyway. I've got low power mode coming up on this, and I think that even my battery there isn't that old or isn't that long. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to do the invocation, and then we're going to send you on the way, and I'm going to remind you that you can go and get the companion journal for this episode at the Temple of Light, which is a free membership group at Anshara'El.com. The link for Anshara'El is in my bio. And in YouTube, it's going to be there'll be a link to join the Sacred Union group in there, which is the next events that I have that are going on. So your Oversoul invocation today is, I remember where I come from. I am born of sacred earth, made from breath of the divine. I belong here. I return to my inner garden and walk in peace. So some of the journal prompts that are in the guide, but there's also a mantra, a seal, there's a suggested embodiment practice that also comes along with the free journal guide. But in this one here, there is what parts of me still believe I'm unworthy of belonging is one of the journal prompts. What does innocence feel like in my body is another journal prompt. When did I first feel disconnected from my body as sacred is another journal prompt. What practices help me feel rooted in the earth and open to divine love? How can I invite more softness into my healing process? If you want to heal in a soft way, you should join us in the Still Waters, which is the temple for your inner voice. It's a very soft sanctuary space for gentle awakening, gentle healing. And where do I still carry the belief that pain equals punishment? Right. All right. So that's all for the recorded stuff. I love you guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. Like I said, I'd stick around, but my device just gave me my low battery warning, so I'm going to get cut short anyway. I do love you. If you're looking for more stuff, do go check out the website because a lot of stuff has changed. Join that free Sacred Union webinar, which is this Friday from 7 till 8:30 Eastern. And check out if you're interested in joining the class and all that entails, which is on the 9th to the 11th, or look at some of the other offerings that I have, like the Soul Letter, which is a channeled note from your Oversoul and your guides, or look at the Voice Note Oracle that I have, which is a 7-minute voice recording, approximately 7 minutes voice recording. And I go into more depth and we'll answer some questions or give you some guidance in a specific direction. You just put that in the note when you pay for the Soul Note, or you just put your notes in. All right. I love you guys. I'm going to get off here before it completely dies. Mwah. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with me. And I will see you guys on Thursday. And on Thursday, we'll see. We got enough time. On Thursday, we are doing the Law of Living Light, embodying divine radiance. So if you're interested in that, I'll see you on Thursday at about 11 a.m. Eastern. Mwah. Have a beautiful day, guys. Boop.